Nigerians are expected to seek out the best.
2 words to describe the activity. The Yoruba Unity Forum is conducted.
Be the first to know. From the north, south, east, west, and around Africa.
Presidential
we break the news.
Women in Nigeria.
Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News.
Welcome to Core TV Primetime News.
A 24-hour news station.
All right, time now to find out what the top stories are on some of Nigerian newspapers. I have the Vanguard, the Nation, the Punch, as well as the Guardian newspaper for review this morning. And let me check if my guest is done being made up. Of course he is. I have human rights activist, legal practitioner joining me on the show today, WALE OGUNADE. Thank you very much for finding time to come.
Thank you so much.
Let's start with the Vanguard newspaper. The top story here, threat to Indigo in Lagos. Ignore Obakiolu, Clark, Tinubu tell non-indigens. Lots of riders here. Vote for candidates of your choice, Ohaneze tells Indigo. There won't be discrimination against anyone, says Fashola. We've never discriminated against anyone, actually. That's what Tinubu is saying, that he was the first person to appoint an Igbo man during his administration. Lagos too important for APC to lose, says Buhari. Lagos APC apologizes to Igbo. Yoruba Obas don't recant, says Osun APC. The front page picture tells a story. Buhari in Lagos this time around is saying that there is no way it will be so bad if APC loses Lagos. You want to find out details of that inside that paper. They call it the APC rally. IGP to deploy more policemen to Rivers, other volatile states. That's on page 12. And I keep wondering why the Vanguard keeps showing the Kano State results of March 28 general elections. It's always there on the front page. You might also want to take a look, but it's amazing anyway. The presidential election, APC 1.9 million, the PDP 215,000, and then for the House of Reps, it's APC 24, PDP 0. Let me start with you, Barrister, with this one. IGP to deploy more policemen to Rivers, other volatile states. Would that be enough this time around? Because prior to the March 28 election, we knew where the violent areas were. But unfortunately, it looks as if that information was not enough because it was still, the same trend of violence that we recorded there. Do you think more presence of security operatives will work this time?
Obviously. I mean, you need security presence to really curtail places that are prone to violence. And one will expect that, if anything, the people should be deployed today, at least tomorrow, so as to ensure their presence enough to deter all any will be nuisance and culprit. And to that extent, I will really appreciate if that is done fast to arrest any ugly situation that may arise. Policing the environment is a very, very important place. And really will not overlook the importance of the state elections, because that is where the power is. Really, the president is there in Abuja. Yes, he wields some enormous powers, but the manner, how do we call it now? The chief, the king, or the person who operates in the manor. The word just mixed up. The person who is the chief of the manor. Okay. Yes, the chief of the manor is the governor. He's the one who calls the shots. In fact, he's the one who is his full soldier of whoever is the president. He's the one that has the state, who has the coercive power per se of ensuring that the political machinery of the state is oiled to the advantage of the federal. And you saw what happened during the elections. The president, as Jonathan, has to rely on the state governors to ensure that he has victory in the states.
That's right.
And in the opposition state, where he has none, he had it difficult to penetrate because the state governor and the members of the House of Assembly are the persons on ground. And really, if you look at it, politics is a local thing. It is not a top thing. Politics is bottom-top thing. It is not top-bottom. So if this election for Saturday is a serious one that any serious politician will take serious note of, to be very serious about it, and to ensure that he puts everything seriously in it to ensure that he has a serious advantage. So everything about this election is serious.
Well,
the more reason why the IGP and all other security agents that will be involved in monitoring and ensuring peace take it seriously. And one will expect, if the military too wants to be involved in their observation thing, by now they should roll out the drums and escort, be on their strategic points to know. For people who want to create one misfactions to know that.
Will increased security be a substitute for all of the allegations that have sprung up recently? For instance, in Rivers and in Plateau, there are protests now for a removal of the resident electoral commissioners in those areas.
And that's what I'm saying. You see, these people are on ground. And just as I said earlier on, anyone who looks at the Electoral Act section 63, subsection 1 and 2, is clear on issues of election results. But if someone like me talks about it, people will just not mind him. But it will take an Amechi for it to have some sense. And now that the thing has come up, we are now seeing the reaction, even of the chairman of INEC. And you saw in Edo State the other day, Igini was telling them, no, why don't you have result sheets in the polling unit? Because to me it's logical. I'm involved in this process as an election observer. Even if you're not an election observer, you know that an election will be conducted and there will be results declared at the unit. And if that the result is declared at the unit, where do you put the results? Where do you write it? Will it be in your brain? Then you move to the collation center and you start assessing. Oh, it's 210. No, it's 215. That will give room for argument. But there is a prescribed form. And the law is there that once the result has been, the vote is counted by way of shout to the hearing of everybody, the presiding officer will write the result, countersigned by the agents and the police officer in that polling unit. That is what the Electoral Act says. So if there is not such thing, then definitely that's infringement of the law. And the sentiments does not repair it. It is the law, and if there is a mistake, if there is a deviation from it, then the penalty flows. So to me, the issue of people clamoring for the removal of the wreck of those states and any other place is justified, because these are the people who are on ground. They feel shortchanged. Those who are in the community know those they voted for. They know the number of those that they like. And let me tell you, elections now has gone digital. So it's not the issue of you are hazarding guess. As soon as the election is taking place, if election is taking place in a community, people know. Because just as the political machinery, they will have their agents all over. And they'll be calling themselves, oh, it's taking place in Ahoda now. It's taking place in Efron now. It's taking place in Patani now. And it's taking place in Ijebode now. And it's taking place in Ward 2 in my ward, and so on. So we're sending our reports to the various levels of reportage till it gets to the national.
You recall that after that, I think it was before the collation of the results, a petition was written by the Rivers APC to INEC. And INEC, of course, sent in a 3-man panel to investigate what transpired there.
Yeah.
Afterwards, the APC is coming up with claims that panel did not even meet with the APC, but only met with the PDP, and the INEC in that area. What do you think can be done in such cases where there are grievous or grave allegations, where there are allegations? For instance, in Plateau, the APC is saying the rec there visits the State House regularly, visits the PDP gubernatorial candidate there. What steps do you see the INEC taking in the light of these very serious allegations?
One will expect INEC to be neutral throughout. Fairness, I interacted with the rec of Lagos. And at a point, he said, he suspects me. I say, why? He said he learned that I'm an activist who is on the side of Buhari. I say, why? He said, because there are some lawyers who are routing for Buhari. I say, yes, I'm a lawyer. But does that make me part of those routing for Buhari? Right. So to that extent, he now brought out a court that, yeah, this man knows his onions. And in fairness, I tried as much as possible to monitor his activities. I never see him hobnobbing with the governor of Lagos State. No doubt, he was really in meetings with the police, the army, and so on for security reasons. It's understood. Maybe once he now addressed the press conference with the governor in the government house, but it was in the glare of everybody he went. Right, I may not know, maybe he went there at night, I may not know. But where I'm going is that for this one, the issue of hobnobbing, that is not, it shouldn't be at all, at all, at all. You see, if you're an umpire, it's just like a football match that all of us like watching. If the umpire now decides to leave team A and start hobnobbing with team B, seen in the house of the coach, seen in the house of the captain of the team B regularly, then definitely the possibility of bias is very high. So to that extent, the integrity of the election management board is very, very key, and those that will be involved should be seen to be like Caesar's wife. To that extent, they should not forget that they are like the bird that is flying up. People who are down are seeing them, and these are the electorate. These are the major stakeholders that will be monitoring their activities. So if these allegations are coming out, they can't be just wild allegation. There are issues that happen, and of course, between now and Saturday, I know steps should be taken. Ours is that we want steps to be taken to douse any serious inflagration, because the state, just as I analyzed earlier on, the state is a different ball game. That's the state elections, both for the House of Assembly. The House of Assembly, the man who is coming out from his locality wants to win that election to prove that he's the political lord of that area. And to that extent, he will put in everything. The governor too will want to prove a point, or the whoever is the candidate of the the gubernatorial candidate of any party too want to. So to that extent, one should expect a different ball game from what happened on March 28th. And to that reason, it is very, very important that all the stakeholders ensure that all the right things are done in terms of integrity, in terms of securing the place, and even for voters too, to be very, very patient, and of course to talk with their tongue and not with their fist.
It's all right. Let's find out what the top stories are now on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Chaos in Ekiti. Fire supporters and wild protests in Ado-Ekiti, other towns. Military stopped us from entering Ekiti, says APC lawmakers. President condemns politicians trying to cause public disorder. You find details of that on pages 2 and 10 of the Punch. The front page picture also complements the words at Tikonko roundabout at Ado-Ekiti. That was on Tuesday. You want to find out details of that somewhere within the pages of the Punch. APC wins 214 House of Reps seats. That's on page 3. Court orders National Assembly to disclose lawmakers' allowances. That's on page 10. Osumbo, Aldaka, Onoja, Arishe, defect to APC. Is that the Ayo Arishe of Oyekiti? That's amazing. That's
popular Ayo Arishe for Oyekiti.
You get details of all of that on pages 9 and 11. 16 parties storm INEC, demand Rivers Rex remover. That's on page 8. Forgive Akiolu and move on. Buhari begs Igbo. You find details on page 5. APC Tinubu react. Let's start from Ekiti. Amazingly, this is the second time that issues of impeaching Governor Ayofayoshe will be coming up. You know, I spoke with his essay on media and new media and communication yesterday, and I said if your principal gets impeached, it's going to be very historic, being the governor who's been impeached twice. Of course, it debunked all of those claims. But would you say that the move by these lighting lawmakers is legal, given the fact that they are already contesting their suspension in the court?
Unfortunately, I saw all these things coming. Unfortunately, I will add that the move by the lawmakers in Ekiti is not legal. Legal in the sense is that they are already in court. But the only thing is that I don't know, maybe they have an order for the maintenance of status. But even if they don't have, to me, common sense will dictate that they should not resort to self-help. What they are about doing is resorting to self-help. They have an option. They can, since they know, what I will have expected is that since they know that yes, they want to start this move and they have done their calculations and they know that it will be in their favor, a smart lawyer they will have just advised, or their lawyers will have advised them, let us discontinue this matter. So if they discontinue this matter, then they will be free. But as it is now, Legally, it is wrong for them to take all the steps they are taking. And I hope that we should not play politics with law. And that's my problem with people. And I care less whose ox is God. Because the law is the law. They want to use the law now, but the law, they've initiated the legal process. And that process must be concluded. What they are now trying to do is to resort to self-help. And again, the law does not regard and respect and recognize self-help. So to that extent, whoever is listening should tell them that they should just take, I'm sure they will have a team of lawyers who are brilliant enough to advise them on the legal steps to take. More so, all these things again is against the time, because they have to sit, give the impeachment notice, 7 days, constitute a 7-man panel who will sit, work out, look at all the allegations against him before they now find him guilty or take a position as it is. But for now, to me, it's just a rush thing, and I want to look at it that they are just playing politics, because if they can get their business done within now and Friday, it will give them the leeway to have a free hand to conducting an election to them as a two and co. But be that as it may, they really overheated. They've turned the politics round and now heated up the environment. People are dying. The whole tensions. People who want to go for their examinations are not able to go there, and so on and so forth. I don't think there is room. There should be need for that. No doubt, if you look at it at the end of the day, you look at it that yes, Fawashe brought all these things on himself. But one will not, you see, the general picture is that 2 wrongs can never make a right. And to that extent, I want to call on the lawmakers to just put a hold on the agitation and let the cause and follow do the right thing. That's what I would just advise.
Let's look at the role of the military in all of this, because the way it appears, the 19 lawmakers were quoted to have thanked the Commissioner of Police for providing security. But on the contrary, there is an appearance of a name. Is it General Captain Momo? Is the same Momo that appeared in the leaked
Major General.
Major General leaked Ekiti audio clip. I mean, at this very crucial time, many would have thought that such a clip should have been handled to the point that the stakeholders in that clip should have been brought to book or for questioning. The fact that the status quo remain is also questionable, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I want to believe yesterday evening I was looking at the internet and I saw that either Fayose ran to Jonathan or he wrote a letter to him, and Jonathan replied that, well, I'm no more interested in this issue because obviously the rule of impunity is over in Nigeria and co. If indeed it is true, then of course we know that we've been running under the rule of impunity. While 9 is higher than 7,
7 higher than 19.
While 16 is higher than 19.
There's always 19 in all the figures.
So I don't know why that 19 keeps on propping up. And so it is quite unfortunate that that's the thing we do. You find out that people do things in a way that you cannot explain. And if the military, particularly this General Momo, is involved here again, and rather than keeping to his duty, he decides to come out, I will not know what is happening now. Under the law, the soldiers ought not to be on the streets at all. At least as at yesterday. They ought not to be on the street. And under whose instruction were they on the street? Right. The duty for now is the police. If they say yes, they want to keep law and order, then it must be seen to be on 2 sides. You see, if 2 people are fighting and you hold one person's hand and the other is busy dealing the other with blow, then definitely you are not letting out justice. So the issue is that on whose instruction is the military out in Ekiti as at yesterday? Because if they should be out, it should be as from tomorrow, Thursday, or even Friday. That's what it is. But if they are out yesterday, on whose instruction? And is it just Ekiti alone, or are they all over the country? Because it can't be a secluded or a restrictive order. It must be a regulation or a law that is obeyed and be instruction that is followed all around. It must be a general order, not a restrictive order for a particular place and co. Be that as it may, we are walking and watching things the way it's unfolding now. And I know that definitely all these things will be put in its proper perspective very soon.
How exactly do you see this happen? Because the way it is now, it looks as if the 19 lawmakers might not be able to sit in Ekiti. From what we saw yesterday, they had to retire to Osun State, which initially was also their escape land, for want of words anyway. But the way it is, there would be a House of Assembly election come April 11. Some of these 19 lawmakers are also seeking re-election. What do you see happening? Happen really in the next couple of weeks?
And just as I said earlier on, the only solution is for them to withdraw their matter. In law, we call it discontinuance. They discontinue the matter, then they will now have the opportunity to now have a free will. But again, I know this. Because I know that some of them are listening and the other party is listening too. The lawyers too on the other side may decide to say no, we are not allowing you to discontinue, so as to, for the matter to linger on for as long as it can. But be that as it may, it's for them to now look at how they're going to solve it. And of course, the elections are around the corner, and that's where the people will have their way. And if the people talk, obviously there is nothing that can happen that can silence them.
Let me open the phone line. Good morning. Welcome to Call Digest.
Yes, this is Emeka calling from my demotion.
All right, Emeka, go ahead with your contribution, please.
Yeah, good morning to Mr. Wale, the gentleman yesterday.
Thank you, my brother.
Like the way you analyze it. Good, I love that. I want to talk about this equity issue. It is becoming too much. Let us not encourage impunity. Like what he said, like he said, it is true that Jonathan said the way of impunity has ended. If other governors, let's for instance, other governors, the state governor decided to push out the House of Assembly members, what will happen? That's the commonality. Because other governors can do the same like that. Okay, they should go to court because you know our court now, they take 1 year, 2 years before they can decide on issues. So if we should continue that means we won't have House of Assembly. Every government will take it. They will just come down there and say, let me put them out. Let them go to court. This is impunity. Financial cost it all. We should not blame the lawmakers. Yeah. Financial irrespective of whatever they say, that they love him. Fine, they love him. The love him does not mean the law will not take it court. If he has violated any constitutional whatever, they should do the needful, irrespective of whoever he is. So again, they should take caution. I want to ask the question: what happens if by the end of this measure, when the new House of Assembly is sworn in, if the lawyer, the court now invalidates the actions of Fayose, what will happen? Will they return back, or what will happen? I want Mr. Wise to answer that. Secondly, about the Order of Lagos, please, I am an Igbo man. I know he has made an error. He has good, but whichever way, we should forgive. We should not overreact. When they say overkill the king monkey, when they start begging people and they refuse to listen, it depends on them. They should forgive and forget. After all, he's not speaking for JPC. Please, in the spirit of oneness, they should forgive. They should forgive whatever the other has said. I personally will change my mind. I have already made up my mind since last year that I'm going to vote for social candidate. That will not change my mind. Whatever the other say, I know what I'm enjoying in Lagos. Please, thank you.
Thank you, Emeka. We're going to get to the issue of the Oba of Lagos in the next segment of the show. Yeah. But you might want to quickly answer his question.
For the legislators, their term ends on May 28 this year. So anything they want to do, they can do it within that time, and that's what informed my discourse the other time. That they can go file a notice of discontinuance and so on and so forth. But again, if they are lucky, if they are returned by their people, all these legislators, if they are returned by their people, unfortunately, they are able to, how do I call it now, have the enough majority, the 19 of them come back again. Obviously, they may be able to continue their act. And of course, they will even have a very strong opportunity of doing that. And I guess at that time, maybe the Ekiti indigenes and all leaders of thought would, okay, see, let's bury the hatchet and so on. Because fairness again, except maybe the stories I read yesterday are not true. I learned that indeed Fayose has been sending emissaries to Tinubu, to Oba of Lagos and so on, to even beg and co and co and co. If that's true, then definitely there will be a solution to it. To me, to err is human, to forgive divine. The only thing is that no doubt Fayose carried it too far. I guess that's what my brother was trying to say. But then, we are all human beings. He's just a leopard. He's a human being who refused to change his spot. But maybe with this experience now, if he has the opportunity, he has learned a lesson.
I didn't get your earlier position. Are you saying that if the court now overrules the position of the Ekiti state lawmakers of suspending the 19 APC after an election, what does that portend?
No, there's nothing. there is no tenure elongation. Is that what you are going? No, their term ends. They cannot say because they were suspended, then this election they will have a carryover. They will remove the number of
Oh,
days.
I see. As soon
No.
as the newly elected legislators have been sworn in or whatever it is, they are
Yes.
presumed duty. Nothing else can be done.
No, that's why I said that if these ones, if Ayoshe now is able to have the majority of the people of the House of Assembly in PDP who will not do anything to him because they are the same family, super. There is nothing. He has not sinned in the face of either the law or in the face of the people.
I see.
So if the APC is able, I've already stated it, that if these 19 people are able to muster the support of their people, come back to the House of Assembly, then it's going to be a luta continua, as it were. It's going to be a continuation of war until, of course, one of them wins. And of course, I see that indeed the impeachment will scale through. Don't forget the Adamawa Nyako issue. Then the man was dodging, playing pranks. At the end of the day, he's now history in Adamawa.
Well, let's see how it goes. Let's quickly check the front page of the Nation this morning. Buhari, Fashola, Tinubu, Lagos won't discriminate. You find the front page picture showing Buhari in Lagos holding the microphone, raising Ambade's hand yesterday. With them, Mrs. Nelson, Fashola, Asiwaju Tinubu, Mustafa, Mrs. Adebule, and all the party chiefs. APC candidate Ambode, we're all one. Oba of Lagos didn't speak for party. When we conducted an exam and a spelling competition, an Igbo boy, Ebuka from Anambra, came first and he became the governor for one day. Ebuka was sent to Switzerland Computer School and then Obafemi Awolowo University. We did not say it was an Igbo boy. That's quite, they must have really dug that up, to counter what's happening right now. Fayoshe's commissioner aides arrested with weapons charms. Soldiers stop lawmakers from entering state. Thugs shut down capital. We find details of that on page 4 of the Nation. Ondo PDP members give mimical conditions. Oshomola's home under aerial surveillance. Jonathan to politicians, stop gloating over PDP's loss. Anxiety in Oyo opposition camps over Buhari's visit. You get details of all of that on pages 5, 7, and 57. I don't know really where we should start from, but maybe we should start from the electoral value of Buhari as the president-elect. They seem to be taking him to all of the states now. Do you see Nigerians voting along that pattern, really?
No doubt it will have a bandwagon effect. I mean, there is nowhere anywhere in the world that such doesn't happen. People want to align with the victorious team anyway, because that's just a natural thing. And apart from that, the Nigerian politics is an interesting one. That is the issue of winner takes all. And there's no way any president can placate anybody. If you are in the opposition, you are on your own. It's a natural thing. Except maybe you just have somebody who is magnanimous, who wants to just look at it that, well, it doesn't matter, they are all my constituency, then you will now want to distribute the largesse of government all over. But be that as it may, obviously, Buhari is the man of the moment, so it is a natural thing that those who want to use him for electoral advantage will want to flaunt him all over to ensure that, well, you see him, you see, so you better make it follow, and so on and so forth. So to that extent, yes, he will be there. He too, again, will not want any trouble per se. There are some states that indeed he will want to be in his pocket or within his own party. So that they will have a roller coaster per se in terms of developmental strides, that he won't have any problems. And to that extent, I want to believe that yes, Buhari too will be disposed towards moving around in the next 2-3 days to ensure that he gives his party.
Barrister, really, should federal presence be a function of political alignment? I mean, does it really matter if Lagos were to be a PDP or an APC party for the people in Lagos who are Nigerians to benefit from the programs of the federal government?
Lagos has always been on the progressive side, and it is deemed that the progressive have taken power at the center now. That's the APC. So it will be an aberration if Lagos is on the other side. I mean, I'm in Lagos, and Lagos is the home of activism. Lagos is the place to be. And I can tell you, to confirm that, you remember that during the elections, before the elections, PDP virtually shifted its headquarters to Lagos. Its governors, all its governors came to Lagos to talk to us, leaders of the civil societies. After that, the president himself was here. In fact, along the line, I was thinking that I hope that they are not moved Aso Rock to Marina or to State House in Lagos. So to that extent, it shows the importance of Lagos, not only in national politics, because Lagos is the political capital of Nigeria. Take it or leave it.
You've not answered my question.
Yeah?
I'm asking that, does it matter? Because one of the reasons or one of the political gimmicks now of APC is you have to vote for APC so that you won't be in the opposition. Should it be a function of the political alignment of the state before the federal presence can be felt?
Obviously, it's a natural thing now. If you are not part of it, if you are not part of a team, you can't get something.
So what's this thing
If the
about
APC
inclusive governance?
No, let me just clear
Shouldn't
it up.
Buhari be a president of all, whether you're
I'm going
PDP
there.
or APC?
I'm going there, but that's the politics we all play. Everyone wants to be part of that center, to be part of it. If you are in the opposition, obviously you know you are in the opposition. If you are in the center, you know you are part of the center. You can now demand. I mean, let us give it to it. If you are not a member of a family, you cannot go to that house and say you want to take something. If you are not an Ogunade now, you can't come to my family meeting and say you want to take a largesse, you want to take what belongs or part of what you are benefiting in the Ogunade.
Is it supposed to be like
Neither can I
that?
come and do the same here.
Because the people that eventually feel all of this are the Nigerian people, and
No,
Nigerian people are not really necessarily partisan.
Politics. That is politics. You can't take it away. If you are talking about governance, it's a different thing entirely. We are in the realm of politics now. Politics and government is different. We are talking politics now. And the politicians this is the time for the politicians. Once politics is out, then people like us now again will now say, no, Buhari, you have a responsibility to this state. It doesn't matter that they are in opposition. And that's why people like our group now comes into play. You see, the voters will now say, okay, because we are in opposition, you refuse to accede to our request. You refuse to take steps to develop our states or to bring federal legislation or government activities to our state. Don't worry, elections are coming. We'll ensure that we don't vote for you. And that's why I like what from the grapevine, I learned that the APC is trying to overlook their rejection in the southeast, as it were, and of course reach out to them in terms of ensuring that the two they are part of the government.
I don't think they really have a choice. It doesn't really matter
That's
what
just
party
that's
anybody
what
votes
I separated government and politics to you. Now they are going to governance.
Okay.
They've left politics. Politics is past, but in government now they must reach out to do all the cross section of a country. That's how a good political system will work. A good government can work.
Let's get back to the phone lines. The number is right there on your screen when you call in and able to turn down the volume of your TV set so that we can do without the feedback distortion. The moment your call is acknowledged, please turn down the volume of your TV so we can hear you very clearly. Our last point of call on the papers this morning is the Guardian newspaper. Business sector draws a plan for Buhari presidency, canvasses 6 zones of development. CBN, EFCC to sanction illegal dollar deals. The front page picture here is quite different from every other paper. It's some of the armored cars captured from the terrorists at Alagamo. And you see assorted arms and ammunition also captured from the fleeing terrorists. Good morning, welcome to Call Digest. What's your name?
Good morning, I'm calling from Ikorodu.
You're welcome. How's Ikorodu today?
Fine.
Please go ahead with your contribution.
What I want to say is that you asked a question whether it does it really matter. I look at if your state is not with the center. Look at Lagos now. Lagos have, see, for last 15 years now, there's some of the things that the federal is supposed to do in this Lagos state. But to overlook it because Lagos is not with the PDP. They decide them so many things because they are in no position. Was it last year the outgoing president give all the PDP governors 2 billion? But all the APC states, he didn't give them the 2 billion he give the PDP governors in their states. So that is the problem we have. If your state is not with the center, it will affect some of the projects in the states.
Okay.
So I believe the negotiation we align to the center this time, so that there are so much things that in Nagawa State. So many things to do, but they overlook it because the Lagos is an opposition state.
Thank you very much, Amaka, for your contribution from Ikorodu. But what would now make this administration different from the rest if it follows suit in this partisan governance of a thing?
No, you see, we are moving. That's what I just said earlier on before the caller comes in. We are moving from that level of partisanship to that of governance. So when governance comes in, it doesn't look at it that, well, these people did not vote for me, that people did not vote for me. Because you're looking at the country as your constituency in one place. To that extent, you now push development all around. Whatever is good for the goose is good for the gander. The issue of discrimination should be out. That's what we practice now, and that's what we begin to practice, because we are all one Nigeria. And anyone who wants to promote division should not be shut down. Shut down in the sense of bring that idea down. So to that extent, we should all work towards a better Nigeria. We all have contributions to make. My left hand and my right hand, both of them, without doing this, they cannot clean up. So the best way is for us to join our hands together and ensure that Nigeria works better. And we're having a new era now, a new government, and it's all our own duty as Nigerians to ensure that this new government succeed, because there are a whole lot of things to be done. Just as the last caller said, even if we want to take it from Lagos and we move it down from the Ajao Estate, the airport road that she mentioned now, you take it away, come to Lagos Ibadan Expressway, you leave Lagos Ibadan Expressway, either you veer at Shagam to Benin, and from Benin you go to Patani, you go towards all the roads, to even to the east-west, I guess it's the east-west they call it, to Port Harcourt. It's a whole lot of work to be done. And on the left and right, there are so many arable land there for agricultural purposes, for housing, for industries, for factories, and so on. All those places to give jobs to the people. All these ideas that we want government to look at, instead of just spending money on nothing, buying and acquiring jets and so on, which will not trickle down to the people. We want this new government to now look at what has been the bane of our problem, encouraging research institutes. I know there is an industry called Proda in Enugu. They should look at that place and give it all the support it needs to now begin to carry out its functions very well. And of course, through that, we have the NIFOR, we have the NISA Research, Cocoa Research Institute, and all such other, the Veterinary Institute in Vom, and so on. All these are the different industries in Kaduna.
Let me take this call. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Labaran from Port Harcourt.
What's your name again?
Labaran from Port Harcourt.
Labaran from Port Harcourt. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, please. And I hope that it will get changed. And Mr. President-elect said that he will work with the people who vote him, and the people who not vote with him for him, and the people who never even vote, he will work with them.
Okay.
So I believe that the Muslim will do that work. And secondly, that thing talk about corruption. Corruption follow they do all those things. Mr. President is not doing well anywhere where there is not even fighting. You know they do well there. So I hope my brother Buhari cannot do like that. He will practice the Islam. Bye.
It's all right, Labaran. Thank you very much for your contribution. Of course, highlighting the fact that it has to be all-inclusive. I'm sure politicians will also bear in mind for everywhere they lost in this presidential election, there's always a percentage of the people that still voted for them. Obviously. In Kano, for instance, even though General Buhari had 1.9 million, President Jonathan still had 215,000 plus votes, and that's how it is. Even in the southeast and the south where the incumbent president got most of the votes, there are still a percentage of the people who voted for Buhari. So if Buhari decides to close his eyes, shut his eyes at those people, he will also be I mean, there are many people there who gave him his heart. I mean, gave him all they had. Let's just quickly see.
Me the Yoruba that if you close your eyes for the evil person to go or the wicked man to go, then definitely you will not know when the good man will pass or come by your way. So I guess just as you rightly analyzed there, and that's why I was going, that when we now come to governance, the president will have to look at the country as his constituency.
That's right.
Because even if it's one vote, at least it's not as bad Because I guess this election is sweet that even the list of the political parties, none of them scored zero in all over. So it means that they all have their presence all over the country.
Across the country.
So it means that they are all popular, they have their people there, and they should take care of their people there.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
What's your name or where you calling from?
My name is Niyi from Ketu.
I got K2, but what's your name?
My name is Niyi from Ketu.
Nii from K2. Please go ahead with your contribution.
My name is Niyi from Ketu.
I got that. Turn down the volume of your TV set and go
Thank you
ahead.
very much. I just want to contribute to this issue of having the issue of having the presence of the federal at the state.
That's right.
For instance, in Lagos State, if the APC should win Lagos State on this Saturday, I am definitely sure that the presence of the federal government will be there. If you remember, in Ekiti, when President Jonathan went there, he told the people of Ekiti that if they should vote for
APC,
that there is no problem, the presence of the federal government will be present in Ekiti. So we should also expect the same thing here in Lagos. There is no doubt about it. There is no concern about it that whatever is done at the federal has to affect whichever state that is being controlled by the same party that is controlling the federal. I want to thank Mr. Ogunade, the lawyer Ogunade, for his contribution so far. I believe that what we are experiencing in Nigeria now is a change that is divine, that God himself has also, allowed to come in place. We are asking that whatever, going on at the federal will definitely affect the state where, the federal government has an impact, and that is what and again, please let me contribute on the issue of these lawmakers in Ekiti. You see, Nigeria is going towards corruption. We have even gone into corruption. And I want to believe one thing, a situation where the minority can impeach the majority, you see, is unconstitutional. I'm very sorry, we have so many lawyers in this country, we have so many people that are, you see, that they believe in the constitution of Nigeria, but still all these things have been going on. With the outgoing President Jonathan wants to say he was not aware of all these things going on in Ekiti. So why are we keeping quiet? Look at the food that has been lost in Ekiti now. Look at the problems going on in Ekiti. Look at every pandemonium here and there. We should be able to rise up and face, the fact. Because what is going on now in Nigeria, I think the time has come for us that God wants to fight for the minority and for the people that are less privileged. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Nii from K2, for your contribution on the show this morning. We have to wrap up now, so I want you to just summarize all your views.
Summarizing and then wrapping up, I just want to react to what Nii just said. Yes, we lawyers are the one. You see, lawyers are not the problem of this country. It's the law we have on hand. For any time that I have the opportunity, I do tell people that what we still operate are the laws of the Federation 1914, when Nigeria started. That is the laws we have. That's why, look, as a lawyer, most of the time I will be involved in matters, and the IPO is the main driver of a case. If the IPO is not in court, your case is finished. And sometimes deliberately, the powers that be can transfer the IPO from Lagos to a place like Sokoto State or Kebbi. And it is the duty of the complainant to bring the IPO to court. You can imagine getting that money, and the adjournment will not be one, not twice, sometimes 10 adjournments. I have matters that I'm handling 2010 that are still in court, but be that as it may, I want to assure Nigerians, I know by the grace of God, the vice president-elect is a sound lawyer. He has been the Attorney General of this country, Attorney General of Lagos State, and he did wonders. And I know that the wonders he did in Lagos State, he's going to replicate it in the national. And by doing that, obviously, we'll have laws, because in Lagos, we have what we call fast track, that sometimes matters or cases, I will call it, do not last more than 5 months, 6 months in court. So that will give a leeway for development, encourages encourages investment, and of course, to all intents and purposes, reduce criminality, impunity, and of course, we'll be on the straight path of the rule of law, accountability, and democracy. That I know will happen in this new dispensation.
Thank you very much for joining us on the show this morning. Legal practitioner, human rights activist, is also president of Voters Awareness Initiative, Barrister WALE OGUNADE. Good to have you always.
Thank you, and to God be the glory.
We'll take a break now, but when we come back, we'll focus our attention on Lagos and, of course, at the Cuba polls scheduled for Saturday. Stick around. Don't go away.
Morning, Mr. President.
Morning, sir.
How are you, Mr. President?
How are you, sir?
How is the campaign?
We must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools. Martin Luther King, Jr.